G'day guys, my name is Wildcard. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for following my stupid content. I really do appreciate it. Special thanks to the guys who helped me with that hard-earned money with the join button down below. I really do appreciate it in a hard time like this. So, France versus England, final round of Six Nations. This is the big one. The Grand Slam is up for grabs for France, and England can spoil it. If they beat France, they will help Ireland winning the Six Nations Championship. So this is a huge game. England has been under a lot of pressure to perform, to win this game. And they have made a few changes. Unlike the French team, the England has made a few changes around the squad to try to match up with what the French had to bring for this game. So first up, let's have a look at some of the information going into this match. France, as we can see, only 2 points ahead of Ireland. If they lose this game or draw, and if Ireland beats Scotland, Ireland will win the Six Nations Championship and the Triple Crown. So England is in it to spoil the fun for France. France at home, Stade de France. It's quite a difficult place for England to win. But, you know, if Eddie Jones wants to keep his job, this is it. This is the match to win, to show that he still has it, that can take England to the World Cup, to potentially bring back Bill, right? This is Eddie Jones has got to prove that he's made changes to the England team that's going to deliver, right? So, unfortunate for England, some injuries has ruled out, and also the red card, obviously last week as well, has ruled out a couple players. Tom Curry, the biggest one for England's side, is not going to be playing due to a hamstring injury. Is it a hamstring? So this is, hamstring injury. So this is a big loss for England. Tom Curry in the English four-pack, quite a dominant performer in the breakdown. But England was able to cope with Ireland with a 14-man in the bin without Tom Curry for pretty much like most of the game. So it's not looking like England is completely down and out, but this is definitely a huge loss for England's side. France, on the other hand, is able to get both their players back from COVID in the form of Damien Penaud and Romain Tafafe Noah, is how I say his last name. But yeah, France is able to get back to full strength, in fact, following last week's game against Wales. So, weather in France, perfect day on Saturday, 16 degrees, nice and warm, nice and dry for a perfect finish to the Six Nations on the Saturday night. So this is as good as it can get for the conditions. So let's have a look at some of the performance from last week. The stats was quite telling for both teams. England really struggled with 14 players against Ireland, but they really had a strategy that kept them in the game, which was the kicking game to the fullback, the high ball game from Marcus Smith, as we can see from his kicking numbers, 301 meters, to the high bomb to the fullback, and having the English wingers and fullback pressuring the kick, was able to yield really good result against Ireland. And in return, the English team was able to claw back from a deficit to 15 points apiece with about 15 minutes left to go for England's side. And this was such a huge, turnaround for England's side, despite having a red card, having a player in the missing. So the strategy was executed sublimely. This was also followed by the sublime scrummaging from the England team. Despite having one player in the bin, having Jack Noel, the winger, attached on as a flanker, England was able to dominate the Irish scrum, was able to consistently force penalties out of the Irish team, was able to consistently, dominate the Irish scrum. I don't know what else to say. It was quite impressive, quite spectacular. Having Courtney Laws in that second row position might be better for the English team, because the scrum was absolutely spectacular, having him in the second row position. So maybe something England could potentially adjust to. I know they like him at the blindside flanker position, but maybe something that could be considered there as well. Also, England's defense was exceptionally well. That rush defense, shutting down Johnny Sexton, has worked tremendously well for England for most of the game. Now, where did England fall apart is their reserves came on and really let England down. So you can see that the reserves came on some of the numbers are just not very good. So you can see Elliot Daly was one that I noticed during the game was performing really poorly. As you can see there, this is a tackle count and missed tackle count. Most of England's team has been pretty good, the starting team. I mean, this is, less than 3. I mean, Mario Toje, 3 missed tackles, but he's made 13 tackles. That's still pretty good percentage-wise. Colin Laws, 16 on 1 missed tackle. That is a world-class performance there, right? And then the reserves came on, really, starting to let England down. Joe Mallard, couple missed tackles. That's not very good. Coming off the bench, 2 missed tackles in, what is it? How many minutes? 14 minutes. He only played 14 minutes, and he's missed 50% of his tackles, right? 2 missed tackles out of 4. And then Will Stewart, not as bad, but I think Will Stewart played a bit longer, 42 minutes. So yeah, 3 missed tackles out of it. That's actually pretty decent to be fair for the duration that he's played. And probably worst of all, Elliot Daly, 3 missed tackles in only 10 minutes of game time. So this was, the England reserves was, extremely poor. And that's what really let England down. The last 15 minutes completely fell apart for England, and Ireland was able to come away with the win. And there's nowhere else to put it. It's really disappointing. England was looking so good, and maybe Eddie Jones in determining, bringing on the substitutions was a little bit too easy. Especially Alex Don-Brown, who was on the field early in the game due to the red card. I thought played exceptionally well for England, and then he was taken off for, I don't know, Elliot Daly. I don't know what was going on there. It was quite a weird kind of situation there for England. And I was really disappointed to see some of these numbers from Joe Marler and Elliot Daly. This is just, this sort of defensive effort is why England conceded 2 tries and lost the game. So, and also the kicking game from England, whilst exceptionally good for Marcus Smith, Freddie Stewart's kicking game wasn't very clinical, and I wish I see there has to be some changes in the fullback position. Freddie Stewart got moved to the wing. Maybe that's why his kicking game, whilst Freddie Stewart was really good under the high ball, his kicking game was a little bit lacking. A number of times he kicked the ball straight down, sent it over the field with no pressure applied to follow up the kick, and allowing, what's his name, the Irish guy, Andrew Conway, to kick 2 50-22s. So that was really poor from Freddie Stewart. So maybe that's why he got moved around a bit this week. But overall, Freddie Stewart's performance was pretty good. Henry Slate is another kicking option for England, but he wasn't really doing much last week due to the circumstances was given to him in terms of kicking. Marcus Smith did all the strategic kicking, and the high balls was just perfectly timed again and again and again, putting what is his name? Keenan? Yeah, Hugo Keenan under a lot of pressure. So France, on the other hand, played against Wales. France started out really well against Wales, almost just blowing the Welsh out of the water right away. And then again, maybe it's the fatigue. Some of you guys say it's not the fatigue. The French team, second half, really struggled to close out the game against Wales. Wales had most of the possession in the second half, most of the territory in the second half, and if it wasn't for a drop ball from Jonathan Davies, Wales could have potentially put out an upset this game as well. So the French team, as we notice every week, overwhelming kicking game. Look at the kicking meters from Melvin Gemini, 340. These 3 players, the Intermac, Dupont, and Gemini has kicked more meters than basically they all have individually kicked more meters than Marcus Smith, right? So the most meters kicked from Marcus Smith is still less than the least kick distance from Antoine Dupont. So 3 players of the French team has outkicked the Marcus Smith in one match. So you can tell how many kicking that's been focused on by the French team. And also, the thing that French did really well is the defense, right? Tackle count, TM, and you can see that these 4 packs worked really well in defense, to be really fair. The missed tackle count was exceptionally well, absolutely world-class defense from the French team. Really pressured the Welsh so much that the Welsh attack was going backwards again and again and again. This was really, really spectacular. The French loose forwards worked exceptionally well this game. Exceptionally hard against the Welsh. France reserves came on. Again, just spectacular defense. No one came on and missed 50% of their tackles. Like, this is just something that you would you kind of want from your reserves. Unlike the English reserves, the French reserves really kind of did their job and did what they're supposed to do. So this game was really, really kind of one of the games that I'm most excited about is the scrummaging. I can't wait to see the scrummaging. England's scrum was so good last week. French scrum has been the most dominant throughout Six Nations. Big fucking scrums all day, every day. I want to see it. This is a huge matchup up front. So Sarah Bale comes in number 1 for French. Julian Mercon, number 2, unchanged. And Uni Antonio, unchanged from the Welsh side. Coming in number 3. I did notice that Antonio was taken out a bit early. This game, he was subbed off just on half time. Usually he gets an extra 5-10 minutes in the second half. But last week against Wales, he got subbed off early. Maybe just to minimize that fatigue issue that he was struggling with. England side, Will Stewart came off the bench at halftime for Sinclair. He had a bit of a back injury. So Will Stewart also performing really well, just coming off the bench. Did continue that dominance over the Irish side. Ellis Genge exceptionally well against Ty Furlong. So many penalties was single-handedly due to his hard work in that tight head end. Jamie George also, not only that he's exceptionally good at scrummaging and line-out, he's really, really good at defending. A number of times he was able to pressure Johnny Sexton and shut down his options, taking him out before he was able to make his pass. So really, really impressive to see a hooker shutting down a number 10, world-class number 10. Many to think that probably the best in the world at the moment. World-class number 10, shutting him down, just rushing defense, extremely high work rate. I was really, really impressed by Jamie George's performance last week. In the second row position, Cameron Wilkie and Mauro Itoje, the biggest matchup in number 4 position. Both players actually plays a very similar style, a lot of disruptive style in the breakdown, a lot of disruptive style in the lineouts. Both are, exceptionally good, clinically executioners in the breakdowns, in the lineouts. I can't wait to see how this matchup goes this weekend. Paul Valemsa retains number 5 jersey. Nick Isikev, I don't know how to say his name, comes in number 5 position for England for the red-carded player from last week. Francois Croc comes in number 6. Anthony Geelong, number 7 for France. And Gregory Aldrich coming in at number 8. For the England side, Colin Laws comes in number 6. Sam Underwood gets caught in for Tom Curry at number 7. And Sam Simmons retaining his spot at number 8. I do think that Courtney Laws did exceptionally good last week at the lock position. I was hoping to see him a lock again, but I do think that maybe with Tom Curry injured, that locking position isn't gonna be, that loose forward position is gonna be lacking a little bit of I guess experience if they bring in someone new. In the back line, the key matchup here, like I already mentioned, is the kicking game. Anton Dupont coming in number 9. Ben Young's more experienced player gets caught up into the 9 position to probably match up with Anton Dupont in his kicking, his running game. Dupont has a really versatile, range in terms of what he can do around the rocks. He can run, he can kick, he can direct traffic. He almost plays like a second 10 out of number 9 position. So this is a huge matchup to see how that goes. So Eddie Jones obviously opted for experience here to match up with Anton Dupont. Romain Ntamack, another danger man for the French team, comes in number 10. Marcus Smith. This will be like 2 youngsters, future of Northern Hemisphere rugby, going head to head. So this is the first time these 2 players play against each other. I can't wait to see who's going to come out on top. The kicking game, again, out of the 2, will be especially important for Marcus Smith to show that to show who's going to come out on top is quite important. Number 11, Gabin Villiers. Stays the number 11 jersey, and Jack Noel, the third flanker or 4th loose forward, is on the number 11 jersey. He did quite well for England in the flanker position. Jonathan Dante is probably one of the main reasons that the French beat Wales last week. despite being a center, his work at the breakdown was exceptionally good last week. He managed to turn the ball over multiple times in the second half in clinical fashion, in critical moments to help to stifle the Welsh advance. So him at 12, he's almost like an extra forward for the French team. So extremely important player for the French side at 12. Physical, dominant, good running, good carry game, and he has that ability at the breakdown to turn the ball over if you give him a bit of a space. Henry Slate is an additional kicking option for England at 12. He didn't do that much kicking last week, but he has been doing a bit of a kicking for England out of the 12 position. Gael Fickou, another experienced executioner for the French outside centre position. Joe Merchant comes in number 13. He did quite well last week for England. Damien Pernod returns from COVID at number 14 position. Freddie Stewart gets moved from 15 to 14, maybe because they wanted an extra person for the kicking game at a fullback. Maybe they think Freddie Stewart's kicking game is not as clinical as they want him to be. They wanted him to just maybe focus on one side of the field. So they brought in George Furbank for the 15th spot. So Freddie Stewart will be on the wing. So I guess that's just a bit of additional coverage for the fullback position for the, expecting kicking game that's going to come out of the French side. Melvin Gemini, what can I say? Probably one of the most important players in the French team. Exceptionally good kicking game. His goal kicking is absolutely world class. So Gemini gets that 15 jersey despite being only debut for France last year. So he's quite a talent. So on the bench position, Patel Muvaka retains the number 16 jersey. Jean-Baptiste Gros, number 17 for French. And Mohamed Haouas comes in at number 18 for the French front rowers. For England front rowers, a little bit of shuffling, a little bit of changes. Nick Doley gets caught up in the number 16 jersey. Joe Mala stays at number 17. Kyle Sinclair gets put on bench. He has a bit of back injury, so he's just probably going to take it easy coming off the second half. Romain Taufefe Noah, that's his name, returns from COVID as well. I believe he was out last week, so this allows France to play that extra forward once again on the bench. Extra forward on the bench for the French side. So 6-2 split again this week. Ollie Chessum gets called into number 19 jersey for the England side. Tabal Flamet comes in number 20 for French. Alex Dombran stays number 20 for England, who did exceptionally well last week. Dylan Crichton for French side stays at number 21. Harry Randall for England, number 21, gets dropped to the reserve position at number 21 spot. Maxime Koulou comes in number 22 for France. George Form, number 22 for England. He had 1 minute on the field last week, just collecting a paycheck. Not really sure why they have him here. If they just gonna have him on for 1 minute, is it really just like injury sub for England side? Yeah, I guess that's what Ed is planning here. Number 23, Thomas Ramos for France. And then Elliot Daly, hopefully he does not get on the field because his performance last week was absolutely atrocious. He gets number 23 jersey for the England side. So this is definitely not an easy win for the French team. As we can see that England has made some adjustments to match up the kicking game that is expected out of the French side. And we shall see. We shall see how this goes. This is a really, really intriguing game. This is, big game. Big fucking scrums all day. I love it. I want to see it. And let me know your predictions. Let me know your comments down below. Thank you for watching this video, guys. I really do appreciate it. And I'll see you guys for the reviews. Cheers.